Hi everyone, and welcome back to another session with me, Taryn. I'm an eating behavior expert, and I work for Mindshift. Okay, so what we're going to talk about today is deprivation or dieting and willpower. Like, is it a good strategy? So, uh, here's the spoiler alert. It's not a good strategy. And the reason is that 95% of people will fall off a diet and then put their weight back on. And usually they put more weight back on within 1 to 5 years. So these are kind of the stats. It's staggering. And we forget this when we're on a diet, right? We get so sucked into this promise of a new body and a new life and a miracle cure for us, and it actually just doesn't work. And that's why we stay on this diet binge guilt trip treadmill for so many years. And what ends up happening is they're hard. Dieting is hard. It makes you feel miserable, and most importantly, it freaks your brain and your body out. So deprivation or dieting, which is what dieting is, it's deprivation. It actually sends your body into this panic survival mode. Hey, Liam. Give me a wave. Yay. So what we're talking about is dieting and willpower, and whether that's a good strategy for losing weight and staying healthy. And so what happens when you diet or you live in a world of deprivation, which is what dieting is, you freak your body out, right? Because your body starts to see this as famine or panic mode. And what it does is it raises your stress hormones, cortisol and adrenaline. And what this does is it stimulates your cravings for carbohydrates, right? And this is your body's way of trying to protect itself. It's trying to get you to eat something. And what also happens is that it stimulates your brain to go into overdrive, right? And it sends you more messages about eating and food. And what that does is it makes you become a little bit obsessed about food. So I don't know if you've ever realized that when you're on a diet, you think more about food, you're counting your calories, you can't wait for your next meal, you're planning out recipes, you live for your food and your meals. And at the same time, it's also freaking you out, and you get a little like scared or paranoid about your meals because of this deprivation mentality. So you're constantly fighting against your body, right? And what happens is the longer you try and suppress your body's need to eat, the bigger these signals build up in your brain and your body to eat, to eat, to eat, and the higher the panic rises in your body. And what happens is that eventually you'll have a weak moment, if you like, and you will be faced with some really yummy foods, and you'll go into overdrive. So you'll binge eat, you'll go overboard with your eating. And the reason is this, again, it's survival. Your body doesn't know when it's going to get fed again. So it says to you, oh, well, hell, I'm going to go crazy now and overeat because I don't know when you're going to let me eat again. And this sets you up for this diet binge cycle, which is really, really destructive. And so let's talk specifically about willpower. That's what I want to talk about today. So there have been a number of scientific studies that look at using hunger, your sort of instinctive or intuitive eating, using your hunger signals versus using willpower to eat. And what they found time and again is that using willpower to kind of manage your weight leaves you, and willpower is just dieting at the end of the day. That's what you need to diet, right? You need to use willpower. And when you do this strategy of using your willpower to diet, you become more susceptible to food ads. You have more food binges, and ultimately, in the long run, you end up putting on more weight, right? So this is science research that's been happening that shows that dieting using willpower is actually not a really good strategy. And that's because most of us don't have great willpower. It's not that you're weak or you're a failure. Most of us just don't have a lot of willpower in the long term, right? We have it in small doses. So think of willpower as like a pool of energy. And it's finite. There's only a limited amount of energy in this pool. And every decision that you make comes from this pool. So every decision you make, not just about food or your eating, every decision you make in your day saps a little bit of this willpower. So by the time you've got to lunch or late afternoon, you kind of got, especially on a busy day or a stressful day, you've kind of got nothing left in the willpower tank. And there was a study done, I think it was in the late 90s, by a Stanford professor on this kind of concept. And what he did is he took his grad students, there were about just under 200 of them, and he split them into two groups. And what they did is they gave the one group a long 7-digit number to memorize, and the other group a much easier 2-digit number. And after the memorization task, they were then offered a snack, and they could choose between candy or something healthy like a fruit. And most of the people, the kids who had to memorize the long, more complicated 7-digit number, over 50% of them chose the candy. And that's because they just had no more energy left in their brain to make a healthy choice, right? And stick to their guns of dieting and being healthy and using willpower. And this then the scientists concluded that using willpower comes from the same pool as making cognitive decisions or your brain thinking energy, right? And if you think about yourself in your day, how many decisions do you have to make from the moment you wake up in the morning? Hey, Kirst. From the moment you wake up in the morning to the minute you go to bed. What are you going to have for breakfast? Packing the kids' lunch, driving to work or dropping the kids off. All the decisions you have to make during the middle of the day about, work decisions or groceries you're going to buy, etc., etc., etc. And all of this zaps away at your willpower energy. And then you throw into the mix all the availability for food that we have nowadays. You can get a supersized double cheeseburger, fries, and shake on every corner. So this sets us up to have a recipe of disaster when it comes to using willpower for our eating. So what can you do instead? Well, a better strategy would be to start to become an instinctive, or you may have heard of it as intuitive eater. And what that basically means is starting to tap into your real hunger and fullness signals, because then you're taking willpower out of the equation. You're not relying on this pool of energy that gets zapped from every decision you make to kind of stick to the guns of the diet, right, to tell you what to do. You're starting to naturally listen to what's going on in your body for when you're hungry and when you're full. And this is the key to getting out of that diet mentality. It's a much less risky strategy than using willpower if you're trying to lose weight or get to a healthy weight and most importantly, maintain that weight. So if you want more information about how to do this, where I delve a little bit more into this sort of topic, go watch my free webinar. It's 3 reasons that's holding you back in achieving a healthy weight and what you can do about it to kind of get to that point without dieting, without calorie counting, and without going crazy around food. So I will leave the link on my post. Otherwise, you can find it on my website. It's mindshiftme.com under the free stuff section. Or just DM me or send me a message or join my Facebook group, Mindshift Me Community, where I'm hanging out and sharing lots more tips and advice. So go check it out, watch it. I'd love your feedback and enjoy the rest of your week, guys. Have fun. See you soon.